Well, welcome race fans. Welcome to the Crown E League Finals Round 2. The sixth race in our 8-race championship, but there are only 5 teams left in it for these final rounds. We're heading to the Circuit of the Americas, of course, as you can well see on screen. My name is Webbo. I'm here to take you through tonight's race as best I can. And welcome if you're joining us on stream right now. Welcome to Edits, who joins us, who's here for IRT. Do exactly what he's done and let us know who you're here to support and what your predictions are for the race. I will take you through the current standings. All the points were reset at the final stage. So after Erpik dominated last round out for NLR take the lead in this new finals points, and it's NLR on 72 points, points for all finishers in the race, of course, under the Crown E League system. LFR are second, LATAM Formula, with 59. On just behind on 56 is TF Esports, then IRT on 47 and QRT on 36. So it's very close. We're only in round. We've only gone through round 1. And hi to Milan, who joins us with an IFR team handle. So I wonder who you're supporting tonight, Milan. Let us know on that one. So we're out there. It looks like it's going to be dry and sunny at this stage. Certainly in proceedings, I haven't had an update from the drivers yet as to what they're expecting on weather. It looks like it's Yagazan, almost as is now tradition. Yagazan first out the pits for the TFL team and already weaving around to generate some tyre temperature out there. The boss of the league is here in the chat as well, I'm sure. I wonder what are you predicting today, Lesty? Or who are you most looking for a good result from? Do you have a second favourite when it comes to the team? Milan says LFR. Excellent. Okay, I wondered because it's a lowercase I, a lowercase L in your YouTube name, is it? It looks like looks like an I. Senna, good friend, is here. We've got dry conditions, confirms Lesty there in the chat as well. Fantastic stuff. I think Senna's even singing in support, which is great. Edit says disgusting livery for the TFL group. Let me know then what your top livery is, especially if you're unaffiliated with another team. That gives you 2 votes if you're unaffiliated. I don't know if Lesty can work a favourite livery vote in the live chat or not, but that'd be pretty cool. And Senna's here for IRT, his team, of course. But about to start his flying lap goes Yagazan then, and we'll join him on board as he has a long, straight climb up the hill towards the very open hairpin of turn 1. The absolute top of the track on the circuit. Now we go through a decreasing speed left-right switchback, like a double-length Maggots and Beckett's. Almost flat there into turn 4, turn 5 and 6 dealt with almost as one as we go into turn 7, and we start to really slow the car down now, looking for that exit point. Turn 9 dealt with nicely. Turn 10 is a flat out section, and we ride right out onto the outside curb for the widest possible straightest line entry to turn 11. And we need a good slingshot out of here as we head now down the long back straight and try to pick our braking point for turn 12. Don't be fooled by the first curb, but we wait for possibly a 70-metre braking point there. Dealt with it nicely, almost took too much apex, but through now a very slow technical section with a very difficult braking point. I've seen cars overtake neatly into that turn 15. It's definitely somewhere you are open to it. Now we go for a quadruple right-hand apex of 16, 17, 18. Turn 19 is a super fast blip of a corner, and then it's all about exit line. 1:31.0 for Jagozan is the first lap out there in anger. Who else have we got finishing up? Well, Kev for our QRT team. Hardly any of the QRT team have got QRT at the top of their at the top of their name. But Jabraka will be looking to get a good time in. Mika makes it a TFL 1-2 at the moment. It's just a short qualifying session, an 18-minute session for our drivers to find out who's best. But we've seen races tip the balance way deep into the race, so it's not all about qualifying. There is just 1 point available for this session, obviously for pole position. Jabraka going for medium tyres, as have 3 of his QRT teammates so far. Medium tyres would be an interesting starting tyre, a 133.4, looking at the delta there for his tyres for Jabraka, but Kev beat him. Kart Racer for NLR has gone P7, as Frankis for NLR is P5. The LFR boys, Helm and Pedro, 3rd and 4th. And we'll see what Will for NLR here goes for. Luke is here for LFR. Luke frequently here as watching each week. Nice apex from Will there. I like the matching gloves and helmet for the team colours for NLR here. Very good indeed. Sun in the eyes as you turn into turn 15. Might be a bit of a distraction sometimes. Leaving a little bit of room at the apex of 19. And possibly 2 steering inputs into the final turn 20. 1:32.0. It's a safe time. It's a nice banker to put in, but it perhaps will need a little bit of extra work. Here comes Erpek, fresh on the heels of his dominance 2 weeks ago. But I seem to remember he didn't max out qualifying, so Erpek, a very strong racer in the damp conditions last time out for us, but perhaps not maximising quali. So certainly some improvement to make. We'll see how this one works out. Medium tyres, it says softs on the grid, but those are definitely mediums, I can see on the kart. So possible tyre issue for Pirelli. P11 for Erpek on medium tyres, the fastest medium runner so far. We've got Boomye out there. Boomye, I think it was Boomye, wasn't it? I was corrected before, so let's stick with Boomye. We do have 20 drivers to take this section. Boomye unfortunately invalidated that one. Last to the party tonight was Exige. But he's on track now for QRT. Fashionably late, perhaps. I think maybe he had a couple of attempts to get into the lobby. I'll be a little bit kinder on him there. Might have Erpek going for a second lap, do we? Let's find out. He is going faster. He's got the Exige on an outlap behind him, who won't worry him. Out there at VMAX down the long straight. Do make sure that you've subscribed to the channel tonight, please, and like the video, especially if you have somewhere else to be. You need to leave us, and if you've got teammates who haven't turned up in the live chat, drop them a link on socials and get all team eyes on the championship. Only 3 races to go, including this one, to decide the winner of the inaugural Crown E-League Championship. Pure Exige then starting his lap very, very close to the outside edge of the track. And we'll run the esports line to the braking zone. Deals with turn 1 well. Very, very fast switchbacks. Several of these corners have got blind apexes. Runs over the apex slightly there, and that was just too much. Getting slightly too much turn in, and might need to dial that out depending on how the track is feeling right now. Or you can, of course, just make a little bit of an adjustment. But Sieb for IRT is just... I'll send the apex a postcard from that angle, but not crucial, the apex through turns 1 and 11. That looks quick through sector 1 for Sieb. He hasn't set a time yet, so I'm sure it'll register as purple for him. Across the sector roughly now. No, that's DRS detection. Get it right, Webbo. Just dealing with a little bit of steering angle on the way out. DRS in operation for Sieb here. IRT only registered a 12th place so far on the board, so they'll be wanting to improve on that one. So purple sector 4 Sieb naturally. Really, really technical, this section. There's a nice camber on turn 15. It takes slightly more speed than you're expecting. And Lesty says LFR and TFL looking stronger so far. Oh, Sieb just slightly wide of the mark, and that one will ruin a lap all day long. Big disappointment for him, but plenty of time. Still 7 minutes to go. There's a long, long lap out there, and plenty of opportunities for drivers to catch you unawares, and you have to back out of the throttle to let them go and avoid traffic issues. So it will definitely advantage everybody to get a banker lap in now and then have a push lap at the end. Currently Yagazan and Mika have the front row for TFL, then Halm, Lucas for LFR, then the TFL remaining teammates on the third row, Davey and Shane, Pedro, Frankis for LFR and NLR. Then we've got IRT, LFR, 2, 3 NLR cars, then the QRTs of Kev, Jabraka have all set times so far. I think you will want to keep this lap alive. Couple of gear changes down across the apex for him. Another good apex. Maybe getting a little understeer, but a 31.747 is a 12th place. Good enough time so far. Let's go and see what some of the faster drivers are doing. Kart Racer goes P3 for NLR, spoiling that neat pattern we had. And Pedro currently on a lap, wanting to get himself back on the second row or better, but a snap of oversteer on the exit. May not be quite as bad as it looked. I think this is a cool down, unfortunately, for him. See who else can we find. Pure Aziz is trying to complete a lap and not managing it this time. Marlon, who I may have been misnaming in previous races, so my apologies, but Marlon in P19 at the moment. Soft tyres, not the mediums it says on there, but soft tyres are 31.380, good enough for 9th place for QRT, the highest placed QRT driver so far. See what Pure Aziz is doing. He had invalidated, hadn't he? Yeah. So just Marlon. I think everybody else is on their second flyer or an in lap. So what about Jabraka? No, the tyre denominations on the grid are just completely wrong tonight. No idea. But anyway, new pole for Erpik for NLR, 130.9. The first driver to dip into the 30s. Very, very nice indeed. Congrats to Erpik for that lap. Now he can really go for it in the next one. Throw caution to the wind and really tackle the next lap out there. I see Sieb might have gone out on mediums. No, softs again. I really don't know what to make of this one. Appreciate the link there for following me on Twitter. You can obviously follow the Cranny League. I'm sure everybody involved here is already following everybody as per usual. But yeah, do drop me a follow if you want to look at booking me for events. It's a good way to get hold of me, or get a link into my Discord server as well. Will down in 15th at the moment, just on a slow outlap, just bringing the tyres up to temperature here. Let's see, Yagazan I think is not on a lap at the moment, no. Trying to find you a driver who's actually attacking. I think it will be Will very shortly, and we'll keep an eye out for, I think Mika is next out there on an outlap. So what will Will be up to from P15? Soft tyres on the car, at least from this view. Big short shift, almost going into fourth there, just to get the car out of the corner without any wheel spin. Whoa, almost losing the car into turn 7. Diniz is here for LFR. Greetings, Diniz. Will's really struggling to get this car out of the corners safely. Hope that means it's a race setup that's gentler on its rears, or gentler on its overall tyre wear, but it's a struggle. Yagazan then, new pole, a 30.8. I wonder if Erpek has anything in answer to that, but Mika, Kart Racer and Davey are out there on outlaps. We'll join them as soon as possible. See how we'll finish this one out. To the line then for Will. It's not going to be super quick. It's a small improvement for himself, but it's not quite enough. Let's have a look at Mika then. 1.5 minutes to go. So everyone on outlaps pretty much. Yagazan did go quicker though. So Mika is 8 thousandths faster than he's been before. He'll need more than that to move up onto the front row. Very, very close on the way out. I know we've got Kart Racer just starting a lap, so I'll join him momentarily. Let's go and see how Kart Racer is doing on this particular lap, through his first sector at least. Too much, way too much into turn 4, and that's the end of that one. Mika hasn't passed his next sector. There he is, 1/10 faster for Mika, so just on the bubble of the 1:30s, which is where the front row drivers are right now. Erpek is coming out very late in the session, and might try and have a right to reply here. We know Kart Racer didn't make it. Davey might behind Mika on track, and we'll try and catch Erpek. Yagazan decided to go with a minimum amount of traffic, but not the pinnacle of the performance on the track. Mika gets up onto the front row as things stand with a 30.9. TFL front row lockout for just for now, with 11 seconds to go in the session. Davey is down there. I think, will Erpek make it before the line? I think he will. I think that was the checker just then. Very close indeed. Let's just check. I think he just crossed the line. That was crazy close. Way too much apex for Davey, unfortunately. We'll ride with Erpek then and see how his first sector goes. Really the only one who can challenge here. Erpek 1/10 under his time so far. That is enough. See if he can continue to build the speed. Will he get a tow from anybody up ahead? I think, is that a teammate or is that an LFR car? My eyesight's not quite there. I think it might be an LFR car up ahead. It is. So they're not going to do any favours here. Erpek will have to do this all on his own. And let's hope nobody in front invalidates someone going slow on the apex of turn 12. Thankfully they got out of the way. And Erpek is up. He's up by enough to take pole here. He just needs to hang on to this car now. Doesn't need anything too special through the next little sector, little snap on the way out of turn 15. Is that the lap gone? Let's see. He goes into turn 19. He's going to throw the car in. New fastest lap for Lucas. Oh, and Erpik invalidates right on the bubble on the penultimate corner. Halm takes the pole position as well. Halm and Lucas steal the front row right at the death of the session. Mika will not answer. And it looks like out of nowhere, LFR on the front row, followed by a TFL front second row. Then NLR and TFL 5th and 6th. NLR and TFL 7th and 8th. This really is a bit of a three-team lockout. Incredible stuff at the end of the session. Apologies to Halm and Lucas. They didn't catch their laps, but look how close we have there. What is that? Just over 1/10 separating 5 drivers in this session, and across the board just a second separating 17 drivers, all on the same tyre at least. Amazing stuff, absolutely amazing stuff. So an all Brazilian, all LFR front row. It's Halm with the pole position there, a 1:30.842, just 200ths faster than his teammate Lucas Jagizan, 500ths away for TFL, and his teammate Mika in 4th place. The highest placed championship leading NLR team Erpik is 5th, followed by Shane, kart racer Davey, Sieb and Pedro. Good performance there for LFR. 3 in the top 10 as there is for TFL. Then Marlon, Acosta, Frankis, Griff, Purazij, Boomyi, Will, Kev Jabraka. Leroy unfortunately didn't manage to set a good valid time in the end, but with it all to do, let's see where he goes from last place. But medium tyres on 18th and 19th place drivers. We'll see what the drivers will have. But yeah, Leslie says Erpik would have had pole without that mistake into turn 19. But wow, what a close finish to qualifying. High quality stuff, but it is Halm who gets the pole position point for LFR. So 1 point added to the standings. I'll just remind you of the standings while I'm here. That is NLR in the lead with 72, but there are, I think, 35. Get it right. 35 for a win, 30 for second place. So a maximum score here tonight of 67 points if you get everything for the front two. But no, you could end up with 3rd and 4th as well. Points all the way down to 20th place if we get 20 finishes, but no points for not finishing, of course. And just to complete those standings for you, NLR in the lead, 72 to LFR's 59, 56 for TF Esports, IRT on 47, and QRT at the tail of the field right now on 36 points. Now, what a dramatic end to qualifying, and we haven't even got racing yet. Brilliant stuff from this esports league. So we will have a formation lap to tour through the drivers. I say Halm and Lucas at the front of the field. Nice getaway. Gulf similar colour scheme, which I'm always a fan of on the LFR drivers' cars. So nice colour scheme from those guys. TFL have gone for neon green and blue. NLR, we've got the same icon colour, neon green, but with some white and black accents on the car as well. Do let me know what you think of the liveries. Let's close in on QRT driver as we get a very wide camera angle for the first sector there. So let's take a look at tyres as well while we're here. Oh, everybody's gone for mediums, 11th onwards, and everybody's gone for softs, of course, that they qualified on. There was those qualifying times were so tight, there was no way you were going to get a good time using the mediums. High quality driving from all of the guys involved in the teams. You can tell the teams are up for this one because they've sent their very quick qualifiers at least. Let's see how they do in the race. We should get quite a lot of slipstreaming, quite a lot of overtaking tonight, and I hope to see lots of action out there. Should be a fairly fair fight. Low chance of a safety car you would think, with the wide circuit and the dry weather. And as I say, the high quality driving from everybody. Leroy will start at the back. That's the IRT colour scheme there. The navy blue and turquoise accents. Last race for Leroy. Wow, okay, so last race. He's going for a last to first challenge in his final race. Make of that what you will. Good luck to Leroy in his last race for the team. Is he on to pastures new, or is he retiring? Retiring seems to be the fashion at the moment, doesn't it? It looks like Kart Racer got himself a disqualification in that session, fortunately. So we'll start on colder tyres there. I'm looking forward to this one. I don't know about you, but send your predictions in now, or you won't get as much kudos if they come true. Will LFR hold on for a fabulous front row qualifying? Will they hold on through the race? Or will we see NLR continue to be on top as they were in the last race? Trying to get you a good camera angle. Not succeeding so far. There we go, finally. We have 3 lights. We have 5 lights. And we're away. And LFR getting a good grip out of the first few yards at least. A big swing to the outside from one of the NLR cars. As a dive down the inside comes Yagizan, going for one of those classic early moves into the first few corners. Now they'll go side by side through turn 2. And just about organising themselves as they go through the next switchback corners. We're going too wide, several points down in the back of the corner. One of the NFR cars, I think that's Pedro, going a little bit wide. And Lucas spins, battling with one of the TFL drivers, and thankfully has ghosted it right in the middle of the field. Lucas to the back of the field, unfortunately for him. But up at the front, it looks like Halm has lost out through the difficult first sector. Arguably, there's still a good chance of trading places as you go down this long back straight on the first lap. Look at the field spread, it's tiny. Everyone on the same start-finish straight. No major incidents, but LFR losing out already as we go 3 wide into turn 12. But it's Davey holds on. Sieb getting around the outside of Erpik. And generally NLR taking a pretty gentle approach to this first lap. But it's not worked out for Lucas, and it's not worked out for a couple of NLR cars, including Francis, who's dropping places as well. 3/10 separate Yagizan and Halm. We've seen Yagizan lead from the front several times previously. Very strong competitor. Going for another dive. Here comes Mika, but not quite there. Needs to concentrate on his exit from the corner as we start to get some weaving from Halm here. Will we see anything, any action? Halm shapes to the middle of the track, but it's such a wide entry. Mika has the opportunity. There was a gap to go for, and Mika went for it and got the second place there. So TFL moving forward. They're in first, second, fourth, and fifth places right now. They've got this one with a stranglehold in the first 2 laps at least. Brilliant stuff from the TFL guys, Talent Factory. So it's Yagizan, Mika, Halm, Shane and Davey. Some places being traded there between Erpik and Kart Racer. Kart Racer getting by turn 11. Some, I would say cooperation, but it looked a little bit reluctant there from Erpik to give up the place. They'll be dropping back as the lowest placed soft running drivers at this stage of the race. Maybe just trading slipstream, try and stay on terms. Maybe take it easy on these tyres to start with. Halm is really struggling. He's got the inside line here. It's a little bit of a dirtier place to be, but just about holds on. It's difficult to pass the LFR drivers sometimes, I have heard in the chat, given the issues with connection across the Atlantic. No fault, of course, of LFR whatsoever, but sometimes their cars can look a little bit unpredictable and be difficult for us to ride along with. Mika with the fastest lap here on lap 3. And it's, as I say, Yagizan and Mika trying to stretch the gap now. DRS has been enabled, so Halm needs to stay with these guys to stay in touch. Sieb has had an absolute monster of the first few laps here. Sieb up 3 places, Davey up 3. We've got Kev up 5. Lucas, the big loser though, down 15, and we've also got Boumtje in the pits. Boumtje presumably mending some damage out there. That wouldn't be plan A on the end of lap 2 to be pitting. Ürpek just picking up the pace again, got by his teammate yet again as they swap places. And we head down the start-finish straight. Mika and Yagzan locked together here in DRS. Mika getting by, taking the lead, and presumably just helping each other get on past the next group, get away from Haum behind, who is trying to stay with them. He's still within half a second, and we've got a DRS train from 1st to 12th, sorry, 1st to 13th at the moment, and it's lap 3, so the slipstreaming around this track. The twisty sections not really separating the drivers just yet. Of course, we're not there on any kind of tyre delta just yet, but the race will only come to the medium runners in the laps to come. 3 have been almost completed now, as Mika gets another fastest lap with help with some DRS from his teammate. Haum is very close here to Yagzan, who might have used up some of those tyres a little bit more on the first couple of laps than the rest of the field. Ürpek is right behind Sieb. We'll ride through the switchback on board Ürpek, see how he gains or loses to Sieb. Sieb, big moment. That really welcomes Ürpek to have a go. I'm sure he'll wait for turn 11 though, or even wait till after turn 11 to do it. The detection is before turn 11 for the long back straight, so you can make a dive bomb having already got your detection done. Goes for a big wide move down the inside, and absolute side by side with Sieb on the exit. Sieb had a good exit of the corner, DRS enabled. Sieb could well lose 2 places here as both NLR drivers pull alongside. Ürpek down the inside, Sieb on the outside. Kart Racer trying to live to fight another day there, not wanting to try and collide with his teammate. Sieb sneaks up the inside. Ürpek takes the middle of the track, defensive line through that turn 15, and I think that is now job done for Ürpek. Up to P6 against Sieb, and eyes forward as Kart Racer tries to go side by side through the right-hander, and it's not quite there for him. Sieb gets a penalty running wide, just on the defensive here from the boys from NLR. Looks like they've been keeping their powder dry here. A good overspeed. That's all ERS because the DRS was already enabled for both cars. Kart Racer up the inside. Apologies for the camera angle. That's appalling. But Kart Racer gets past Sieb as well. So Sieb losing some of those places he gained, but still lots of DRS going on up and down the grid. Lesty says TFL in control. Absolutely. It's Talent Factory producing some great drives, but we've got plenty of laps, 23 laps left to go, and I'm sure there's lots of drama still to come. Of course, one thing that's definitely going to factor in here is that the whole TFL team are on the same strategy for tyre wear, so that could be a big deal if we get a safety car at some point. That could really throw they've put all their eggs in one basket. Apologies if that idiom does not translate well to the other languages watching from home, but they've very much risked it all on the soft medium strategy, and we'll all of course need to pit at a similar point, and if that's not convenient with a safety car, that could spell trouble for their overall race distance. Let's wait and see though. Plenty of racing still to go as we now have an 8-car DRS train. The NLR boys next to each other here, just trying to stretch away from Sieb, but not succeeding just yet, and half a second separates the majority of the field here from the car in front. Pure Aziz pits from 5-lap-old mediums. That does not appear to be to schedule. Boumtje went on to hard tyres, making that early pit stop. He might get an undercut on Pure Aziz, but I think he was slowed in the early laps. So TfL first, second, fourth and fifth. LFR on their own in third, then 10th, 11th and 14th. NLR championship leaders at this early stage, 6th, 7th, 16th and 18th. The highest placed IRT driver Sieb is 8th with his teammates 13th, 15th and 19th. Looks like Shane getting very close here to Halm. There is a gap down there on the inside, but it's not quite enough. He's not quite close enough. And just to complete the order then, QRT in 9th, 11th, 17th and last place for Pure Aziz, because Boomyi did indeed get the undercut with that early pit stop on the hard tyres, and Boomyi will be able to run those hards to the end here comfortably. We seem to have drivers chatting in two different chat rooms in the Discord, which makes life a little bit hard for a commentator who's already got 3 screens running. But nice sector of the race here. Everybody driving roughly to the pace of the car in front, because they want to bring those soft tyres as far into the race as possible to give them the best tyre strategy for the end of the race. Penalty for Sieb and Pure Aziz are the only penalties recorded. Marlon is doing pretty well there, the highest placed medium driver in P9 for QRT. He's also the highest placed QRT driver right now. So lap 7, very much as it has been for a couple of laps now, team to team. Brake discs glowing on, I think, the best livery out there. Although it's a close run thing with Halm and LFR's cars, I think they're pretty nice as well. Halm very much on his own there, surrounded by TfL drivers. Very lonely place to be, but he does know that he's got teammates on the medium tyre, so spreading their strategies out a little bit. You can see you've got NLR's speed very much split down the middle. Erpik and Kart Racer very quick on the tyres at the moment. Will and Frankis less so, much further back in the order. Some slight weaving going on. Mika just, I'm not sure quite why he's weaving from his teammate. The NLR boys swap over again in the background there, but I think everybody just consolidating their position and trying to save tyres. Although saving tyres around this first sector is very difficult indeed. There's only really one way to drive around here. So is there much going on further down the order? I don't want to miss any major developments up here at the big points. Remember, 35 for a win, 30 for second place. Just 1 each for pole and fastest lap though. It's all about the team result, as the drivers are very much interchangeable across the championship. Some late moves there for Kart Racer, just trying to move around in Davies' mirrors. Pretty soon we will start to get those pit stops for the soft runners, and then you'll see some activity as the points positions start to change. They're really closing up on each other now. Halm 1/10 back behind Yagazan, might be looking for a move here into turn 1. They're getting close. Anybody fancy a pit stop? Who's going to blink first in the order? Do we have a driver who's particularly aggressive on their tyres, I wonder? Let me know in the chat who you think the highest tyre wear driver is. Mika blinks first. He goes into the pits from second place in this group, so be very interesting to see where he comes out. He's going to have a bit of clear air by the look of the track map there, so he will have some some room to try and put in a good lap here. Of course, everybody on track knows that he's gone in, so they all know to make to engage hammer time as well. Halmer's got a little bit of clear air up front, and of course he'll gain most from the first guy with the DRS. but still the top 8 drivers all in a line with each other. That looks some very excessive weaving from Jagizan, and possibly a little bit unnecessary given how far back Halm was. Let's have a look as they go down to turn 12. Best overtaking place on the track. I wonder who will be next on the way into the pits. It's randomly assigned, the pit boxes. You have no real control in the custom cars as to who you might be paired with in the pit box, so you might end up double stacked with somebody who's right next to you, or you might not. It's very hard to predict on here. Of course, shared pit crews, a little bit of dummying going on. 2 TFL drivers coming in at this stage, Jagizan and Shane. Sieb came in as well. That frees up Halm, Davey, Kart Racer and Erpik again to keep on battling. Let's see where Mika comes out, where Mika feeds out after this first outlap relative to the drivers he was with. Remember, Mika was in second place. I think has got all the drivers. Let's have a look off board. Yeah, Mika has undercut his teammate Jagizan quite powerfully by 2.6 seconds, and he was behind him. So that first lap on the mediums has been incredibly powerful for Mika. Shane has overtaken Jagizan as well. So the TFL guys absolutely all together again, having pitted on fresh mediums now. I wonder if we'll see a whole F1 2021 race without a safety car tonight. It would be a rarity for me. It'll get done a lot quicker than normal. But Halm retakes the lead then after his pole position. He didn't hold on to it for the complete first lap. Well, the undercut, Lesty asks, will teams take advantage? Unfortunately, it looks like the advantage will be for TFL, who were in control of the race to start with. In comes Halm, in comes Davey, leaving Kart Racer on his own out there. His teammate Erpik went in as well. So those 3 drivers all on their way out of the pits. And let's see where Jagizan, Mika and Shane, as well as Sieb. Sieb might be a big gainer here versus the other drivers. Big mistake though for Shane on the way out of the final corner as they come on up the hill. There's Halm. Let's try and see what happens here as Shane can't get in around Halm, but Halm was passed by Mika. So Halm had a good in-lap compared with Shane and Jagizan. Halm's in-lap was a lot better than theirs, you would think, and a lot more like Mika's. So I think it's a lot more to do with the drivers and how much traffic they suffered. Sieb got by Davey, and Erpik stayed in front of Sieb. What about Acosta down there in 4th place? Getting a good slipstream behind Griff, heading towards turn 12. Of course, Marlon will be the lead medium runner. I think Kart Racer will be on his way in. There are 17 laps to go. That's an unusual place to go for a move, but Leroy, a nice move into turn 14, set that up 2 corners earlier and got it done. Kev behind Acosta here as well. Kart Racer does pit. Kart Racer in the pits. How much energy did he save to be able to spend on his outlap? We'll see as Mika will come up to his point on the track. Mika coming down the start-finish straight now, goes past the NLR driver Kart Racer, as do Shane, Jagizan. I think even Erpik will get him once he feeds back in, will he? No, Erpik behind Kart Racer by 1.3 seconds. So your de facto positions after the first pit stops: Mika, Halm, Shane, Jagizan, Kart Racer, Erpik. Pedro moving up, great guns. Pedro's had a fantastic run there and is right up in the net lead group. But let's see what if Leroy's got any more moves in him in this final race, I'm told, for IRT. Leslie says, could we see Will and Frankis hold up Mika and the rest of the TFL guys? Well, that would be sacrificing two of your drivers to the benefit of the other half of the team. Is Leslie privy to any inside information there? Obviously, we've got engineers watching from across the team. Say hi if you're Jeffing tonight, or if you have a different name for it in LFR. I don't know. Is Jeff still Jeff or Hef in that language, in Spanish or Portuguese out there? What is the name of the engineer in those languages? Leroy has a DRS on the back of his teammate Griff, but Marlon still holds the lead here. A safety car at this point would be pretty difficult for anyone on mediums. New fastest lap for Erpek. Understand me spending time watching some of the other drivers who are pretty close to one another here in the what is now the league group. So lap 13 as we approach half distance on this US Grand Prix sees, having not pitted yet, Marlon Griff. Leroy gets past Griff there as we ride on board. So Leroy up to second now, then LFR A Costa, Kev, Will, Jabraka. Mika has got past Frankis, has he, on the newer tyres just about, and is now coming up to try and get Jabraka. He doesn't want to be too impatient about it, but another move down the inside of turn 14 and 15 doesn't work out this time. But a squirrely moment for Jabraka lets the driver by. It looks like Halm is going past Frankis as well. Much better grip through the high tyre deg triple left-hander there, triple right-hander, sorry, and it really paying dividends for the medium runners. Of course, they will suffer later, but they do have a pit stop in hand with the drivers that they're fighting here. Up the inside comes Halm on Jabraka. Jabraka closes the door though. Might have not seen him coming. He came from a long way back coming out of the final corner, but really closed off the space on the inside that Halm, with a penalty now, is racing with a slight disadvantage in that respect. Towards the front as things stand, Marlon, Leroy, Griff, A Costa just behind here. Halm moving up past Will, and a bit of a traffic jam going on further back. Is this the NLR boys kind of saying after you, or are they really racing for position? Looks like Shane trying to hold off Frankis, who is coming back at him. A little bit of action further back as well. NLR really struggling to navigate this section of the race without running into each other. And round goes Yagizan, under contact, I think, or just slightly offline. And you can see the NLR boys absolutely having to be careful not to do similarly with their teammates. Yagizan turning around, back on the racing pace, has recovered the car quickly. Too quickly? I don't know. I'm slightly suspicious about that. Oh, and a big mistake for A Costa, who turns the car around as well. A Costa in the triple right-hander with a mistake. So it's looking like it's about the time when those medium tyres are starting to give up. Shane comes in the pits, must have picked up some damage there. Did Shane come together with his teammate Yagizan possibly? They were close on track, and Shane coming in. Is that it's a strange decision? Oh, it's a front wing for Shane. So it's not working out at the moment. And is this the point where the NLR guys start to bring themselves forward in the race? It's having stopped. It's Erpek now in the lead. No, sorry, Mika in the lead from Halm. Then Erpek and Kart Racer. Yagizan recovering and currently in 11th. Let's have a look back at the IRT guys up at the front there. Well, Halm is starting to get close to Mika here. Yeah, it was difficult to spot, wasn't it? Who was who as we went through turns 12 and 13. Very much so. Halm within range, but not quite close enough. But Jabraka might have something to say about Will's current 6th place. Nice positional overtake there for Jabraka. Good track knowledge. And job done. Will trying to come back at him, trying to distract him in the mirrors, taking a different line, keep him guessing, keeping from looking into the apexes. And that's the plan anyway. Halm is half a second back with DRS on Mika, but can't quite get enough overspeed to be tempted into a move. What about Will and Jabraka? Will is way off track, letting Erpek by, I think. Trying not to come up back on track in front of his teammate. But will now need to clean those tyres off because he's got to try and hold up Yagizan within the bounds of the rules. Francis and Kev are in for soft tyres, so that will be looking for a 12-lap run on soft tyres. That might be a bit much, but they may have been boxed into that move given the tyre wear. Should be a bit easier on the tyres on lighter fuel in the second half of the race, of course. Marlon continues to lead, 15-lap-old mediums there from Leroy and Griff. Then the first of the drivers who've made their mandatory pit stop, Mika and Halm. Again, very close to each other, but they've now caught the drivers in front, so Halm has lost that advantage of DRS. Erpik gets by Jabraka going into turn 12. I don't know how hard Jabraka fancies fighting back, given the tyre delta. Jendrik says, come on QRT. Well, you're very well spread around the field, although unfortunately Marlon will need to pit. So he will lose the lead. I'm certain of that at this point. He has got an 8-second delta to the nearest guy on the same strategy though. So he's clearly putting in a great stint out there. Kart Racer might be next on Jabraka, but unfortunately Kart Racer will see Jabraka's DRS opening ahead. Oh, big difference in braking performance. You need to be very aware of the drivers that are braking so much earlier than you as you follow them into the corners. Mika now has got past Griff and looking at the back of Leroy's IRT car. Just making sure he's been seen as Halm goes for a move into turn 11. We'll be able to do that because he'll still have DRS on the back of Mika ahead. Mika getting past Leroy quite comfortably. Bit of a half move from Halm. I think that was more in defense than it was in attack. He's sort of sandwiched now between the IRT guys. And Mika will use this opportunity to get away from Halm for a lap or two, cool the car, cool the tyres, and still start to stretch that gap. He'll be very pleased to see Halm stuck behind them for these corners. Mika looking strong here for a possible win as Marlon pits. Marlon pits from the lead, and we'll see how much the field spread has helped his strategy out here and where he comes back out. There's a nice gap there. There's a nice gap between 11th and 12th he could find himself in, and on soft tyres to the end of the race when things start to get very dicey and these medium drivers are reaching the end of their life. So Marlon, will he come out in that position I mentioned? I think so. In fact, I think he's coming out in 10th. Nicely done. Halm is making a very hard work of getting past Leroy. Or is Leroy making hard work of Halm's attempts? I think Halm will be really disappointed to see Mika getting away from him, having to wait an entire lap to have a second attempt here at Leroy's car. Should be able to breeze by quite simply. We've got a yellow flag on the track in sector 3. I think that was a QRT driver, but I think it's all clear now. Halm with a good bout of DRS. Leroy still has DRS on the car ahead. I don't quite know how he managed that, but down into the braking zone should be much easier for Halm, and he gets up to second place. But as I say, rather made hard work at that one, and will have chewed up some additional tyre wear as well in the dirty air. Although not all is lost, because he still can see Mika, and he's still just about within that DRS zone. So that lead pair who pitted first are in first and second, but their tyres will wear that a little bit earlier than everybody else's on the same strategy. Leroy pits as well from 17 lap old mediums, as does his teammate Griff, so we should get our race order back in good readable format. Here's NLR up to third and fourth now, after running as low as 6th and 7th. Erpek and Kart Racer earlier on have made up several places. Marlon on those softs has gained so many places already. Of course, 2 of them were from the IRT pits, the pit stops, but still in 5th place and on soft tyres. Marlon could be on for a good one here. He's definitely one to watch. Could get himself towards that podium, especially when you factor in those penalties now. 3 seconds for Halm and Erpek, and it won't be difficult for Marlon to get within range of at least Erpek's penalties. Of course, needing to take it easy himself on track limits. Marlon coming up to this NLR pair, who have been exchanging places the whole race long. And they do so once again. So it's Mika, Halm, Kart Racer, Erpek. Marlon we ride with. The yellow flag in Sector 3. That triple right-hander again. And Marlon doing his best to try and generate another yellow flag there by tipping the other car around. He's pushing Erpek around that corner. I don't think Erpek's going to stand for that very comfortably, as he uses every inch of the track, as he's just about got the right to do. Still got the apex of the next corner. He needs his teammate to slow down ahead of him, but Marlon has got by on the exit. They both have DRS. Marlon's slightly derating, but he's got that difficult outside line. Will need a switchback or a long way round. He goes the long way round, and he goes for another move, and he gets past on the exit. Brilliant stuff overall for both drivers there. Marlon is up to P4. Obviously, Erpek coming back strong, but there's a limit to his ability to fight on 8-lap old mediums at this point. Of course, they'll arrive at the end of the race on similar condition tyres, but at this point, Marlon has got some great pace, and this medium-soft strategy is really working out for him very well indeed. Up 7 places from his start position. Leroy up 12, and it's the medium-soft seem to have been favouring those drivers over the soft-medium. A change for the lead. A change for the lead there into turn 12. Halm gets past Mika. I didn't see that one coming. Halm just about keeping enough in the tank to get by Mika. So, big news. A change for the lead between LFR and TFL. Kart Racer is some 4.5 seconds back from that battle, though, in third. And with Marlon catching fast on those soft tyres. There's a good result in the offing here for the QRT team, at least with one car. But remember, points for everyone who finishes, and we still have 20 runners. And I don't think that is a coincidence. I think that giving points for all finishing definitely motivates the drivers to do well, as well, of course, as being the early stage of the championship where people feel there's all to play for. Kart Racer ended up losing out there into turn 1 from Marlon, who's on a charge. 3.8 seconds with 7 laps to go. His gap to second place Mika. Halm, though, needs to start generating a gap to Mika, and that's going to be very, very difficult work for him. He needs that gap for the penalties. Kart Racer and Erpek have both picked up penalties. Very unusual for them, but I dare say it's that first sector really difficult for the drivers to get through 28 times without picking up more than 2 warnings. It's very, very hard work. 3.4 seconds now the gap there, as Mika coming back towards Halm under braking, can't quite do it. Made a mess of that apex as well, unsighted into the apex and got too much of it. Really rattled the car over the plank there and the sausage curb at the apex. So Halm not managing to generate that gap just yet. 3.0 seconds now, back to third place, Mika to Marlon. This is getting really exciting towards the end. I think Marlon might be right up there with the leaders and on better tyres to boot, if he can just save enough tyres and energy for the end of the race. Mika drops to 0.8, and it was a lot of that was lost through turn 12. So if Halm can just get away out of the DRS zone, it's worth spending a bit of ERS just to get there, I think. And the gap's now starting to spread out around the field. Tyre strategies coming to fruition. Penalties racking up and down the grid. Half the grid have got penalties at this point. I think this is one of the hardest tracks to drive clean. So props to anyone who gets to the end without a penalty. 1.9 seconds the gap now to Marlon. I wonder if he can get himself to the top step of the podium. Am I asking too much? Am I building up too much? Or has Marlon got a good shot here of a win? As Mika and Halm continue to potentially slow each other down a little bit. Mika's got a 3/10 gap to Halm. Halm leaving the door open to the inside, but it's not enough. A big lock-up though from Halm. It was late on the brakes, a lock-up from Halm. You could see the tyre smoke. And this is only going to help Marlon, who's now 1.8 seconds back. NLR have not been able to keep up with Marlon and use him to drag them towards the battle here. It's all about those soft tyres. Getting to the end of this race, Marlon was one of the last drivers to pit. I think it was 17 laps on the medium tyre. And it's definitely paying off for him at this point. Remember, he started outside the top 10. He's now just on the bubble of a DRS zone. Back there, 1.3 seconds. That will close up through this first sector of the lap when he's got additional grip. I think we could be on to a brilliant finish here. 5 to go in this second round of the finals of the Crown E-League. Got to be careful, Marlon. Getting too much apex. Easy to get yourself a penalty and undo all your hard work. He's now done it. He's got within DRS, but he'll be stuck in a DRS train. So he's definitely going to still need to do some stuff with some ERS, some additional tyre braking. He's actually derating Marlon. I'm not going to spoil the strategy for engineers by showing telemetry, but you can just get that derating light come up. Mika 3/10 back from Halm. Not close enough to have a go, at least at this stage. So it's LFR, TFL, QRT and NLR pair in 4th and 5th. Who would have put NLR with the best overall team finishing positions at the start of this race? Although I guess you could argue LFR still 1st and 6th there with Pedro. Although I say that and Leroy gets past to make it a multicoloured top 6, which is what we want to see. Now Marlon is closer to Mika than Mika is to Halm. Just over 3/10 as they exit the final corner with 4 to go now. And they'll go up the hill. Marlon will have so much better braking into these corners. He's going to need to be careful not to trip over the drivers in front here. But he's within range. I mean, certainly he's got a second place with the penalty of Halm, as long as nobody else gets one. Yellow flag, sector 3 once again. I think that was through turn 13. One of the IRT drivers struggling around. Boumtje's been doing the majority of this race on those hard tyres, so it's difficult work for him tonight. Lots of dirt on the tyres for Mika. You can see in that braking zone, dust being thrown up in the face. We've got a car under AI there. So Marlon, with no ERS whatsoever to use, getting very close here. He should have good braking, should be able to brake very late into turn 12. Tiny contact. That was more to do with Mika closing the door than I think it was Marlon's position. Great move from Marlon. Up to P2 now, possibly on for a win if he can continue to battle here with Halm. Haum has got a 3-second penalty, so Marlon in the net lead as long as nothing else befalls the drivers. What a great drive from Marlon so far this has been. And it's also brilliant to see different drivers coming to the fore as we go to different tracks. Last race was all about Erpik. This one, I think, is going to be Marlon's day. DRS in active service there on the way up the hill to turn 1. He didn't fancy a late move. He's being patient. He knows he doesn't need to go for a low percentage move. Just make sure of it. Stay with the driver in front until the long DRS sector on the long back straight. But we have 3 to go. And forgive me for focusing on the lead here and not your favourite driver if they're not involved at the front. But this is where the big points are. This is where the championship comes alive for the likes of QRT, who would have been very disappointed to be bottom of the table after the first race. I don't think they will be anymore. See, as a good move around the outside, he earned that DRS by staying with the car in front, and an easy pass there for Marlon. Marlon in the lead. Lesty can't look. It's nervous out there. I wonder what the engineers are saying to each other, to the drivers. So Marlon, Haum, Mika, Kart Racer, Erpik, Leroy, Pedro, Griff, Lucas and Frankis. Your top 10 at the moment. Some really, really good drives out there. None more so, I think, than Marlon, up 10 places. Leroy up 14, but Marlon is dicing it for the lead, which is where all the pressure lies. Leroy trying to do a good showing for his final race for his team. I haven't had an update on whether he's retiring or just leaving the team. But good performances out there as the gaps are fairly wide spread. We'll go down to 13th place and see Will, who is challenging Kev here. Still lots of points to pay, even though it's down there in 13th and now 12th for Will with a DRS pass on lap 26. So good to catch a move down there in the lower orders, because the gaps at the front have really, really opened up. Yagizan somehow down in 14th place, must have had another issue. He's prodigiously quick, Yagizan, but prone to the odd mid-race error or two, and perhaps just needs to dial it back a couple of percent on how much he's pushing, and maybe just be a little bit more cautious for a better overall result. But we like entertaining drivers, don't get me wrong. Here he comes then on Kev, who has got a red X by his name. Down into turn 12, possibly giving up a warning there as Kev runs super wide and gets, well, enough warnings to get a penalty. So just to do a team wrap up, QRT are first, 14th, 19th and 20th. A big mixed fortune out there. Then you've got LFR in 2nd, 7th, 9th and 17th. TFL currently 3rd, although it's looking like that might change. 11th, 13th and 15th. And NLR then here we ride with Kart Racer, who's looking for that podium position, although with a penalty might be difficult, in 4th and 5th, in 10th and in 12th. Takes you, and then IRT of course 6th, 8th, 16th and 18th currently as things stand. Well, Kart Racer goes around the outside using DRS, and we'll need a monster of a final lap to hold off Mika to keep that podium. Although of course Mika might pick up a penalty, you never know. Yeah, Lesty says TFL be frustrated to finish as they have after the qualifying and early laps. Definitely. definitely struggling with race pace versus quali pace. Maybe the other drivers have got the right balance with setup, and TfL somewhat flattered themselves if they were in quali trim. Got a guy from Evora Architect here saying Marlon will take the win tonight. Well, he's got a 2-second lead, so the pressure's off somewhat, you have to say. Kart Racer has got a 1.4 second gap to Mika. That's not enough to pay for his penalty. So as we finish this one off, penalties, I'd say over half the field with penalties tonight. But I definitely want to give plenty of time out there to Marlon, who's going around 10:11 for the final time now. Tremendous race from Marlon tonight. Leroy and Mika, I think Leroy getting by Mika there. Mika having a bit of a difficult last phase of the race. You'll just see Marlon having lapped Jabraka on his final lap, so saving Jabraka a lap of racing, perhaps. I'm warming to the livery now of QRT's car as well. It's nice and a simple but effective livery. So Marlon in the final sector, 2 corners to go out there. An absolutely fantastic drive from Marlon. Very special as Marlon wins from outside the top 10 in USA for QRT team. Brilliant stuff. Then Halm Kart Racer will just about hold on to third. Wow. Kart Racer holds on to third. Big problems for Mika at the tail of that race. Leroy in fourth with a good finish, if not a particularly professional one on the line. Then Erpek for NLR. Pedro in 6th place for LFR. We've got Griff for IRT. Then Mika, obviously, I think his tyres dropped off the cliff at the end of the race there. He was early in the pits and it obviously didn't work out to the end. 19 laps was one too many perhaps for Mika. Then Lucas, Shane, Frankis, Yagizan, Will, Kev. Davey drops back slightly after penalties. Then Sieb, a Costa about to cross the line here for LFR. Using the runoff area, was tempted to plough into another driver but decided not to. Boomyi about to finish this one out, but a brilliant drive really from Marlon. Question about whether it was tyre drop off or just fuel for Mika. Yeah, fuel is another strong possibility. Boomyi crosses the line in 18th place. Pure Aziz and Jabraka have already done so. So it's absolutely Marlon's day, and despite taking the 2 lowest order finishes in the group today, QRT will have a lot to celebrate with a win from Marlon. Fastest lap for Sieb on a 32.8. And yeah, nice spread of points along all the teams. I still think that NLR might well hold on to the championship lead, but we'll confirm that, of course, at the start of next week's race. Not quite sure why we're still running like this. I'm a little bit confused. Why does Jabraka have to finish his race after being a lap down? Strange, but altogether then, good result, I guess, for NLR, that they may have been hoping for more. TfL will definitely go home disappointed after their qualifying. Marlon will be very pleased. We've got a safety car after the race. I don't think I've seen that before. Has anyone seen that glitch? Post-race safety car? Interesting stuff. I'll take a clip of that. Just checking in, see if any of our drivers will give us the benefit of their wisdom in the driver chat. If you're privy to any of the team chat or tactics, whether they worked or didn't work, let us know in the live chat before we close off the broadcast. Thank you to everyone who watched, and if you're watching back, thank you for that. Drop a subscribe and a like. Remember, I'm at WebORed5 on Twitter and on Discord and PSN, and this is the Crown E League. 2 to go then. it will boil down to 2 final races in the next 2 Wednesdays. Same time as today, of course, and I think I'll be with you for those if I've done a good enough performance for Lesty. Yeah, hopefully I'll be able to be here to take you through those final 2 races, and we will crown the Crown E-League champion team. What is going on with this safety car? Bizarre. Absolutely bizarre. And I mean, we did incredibly well, didn't we, with no safety cars through the whole race, so props to them. I think it's just Bernd Maylander, right? He's just a frustrated racing driver, frustrated, and would not let anybody else have a race without his appearance. So yeah, it definitely would be nice to get the full results. You're right. I mean, we're looking at the results here, but it'd be good to see the race time. I'm hanging on for them, but take a picture if you want of the screen, because that's your finishing order. It's not going to change now. What are we doing here? There's 1 second remaining, but there's been 1 second remaining for ages. I'm really confused. Wow. Is there a more dull thing than watching AI drive behind a safety car? I wonder. Hey, no complaints though, because that was a cracking race, well driven by everybody. We've got AIs have all parked up. They've got bored of Bernd Maylander's work, so all the AR cars have just parked up under the bridge. Can I show gaps? Yeah, of course I can. Absolutely. There you go. Do you want gap to leader or do you want intervals? We'll be here forever. We finally finished the race. I think that's just everybody retiring. They just can't be bothered. They've had enough. So there you go. Leroy gets driver of the day, and I quite like to see that. So Leroy, driver of the day performance, gained slightly more places than Marlon did overall. Although Marlon driving with a super grateful avatar there. He's a very heartfelt driver on the podium. Picks up the win, picks up the champagne, and it's a win for QRT and Marlon. Well representing the team. Brilliant stuff. Good matching overalls, if slightly lacking in the taste department. But there we go. Number 1, Marlon takes the win from 11th on the grid. 45-minute race is nice and quick, really, given no safety car until, well, the less said about the end, the better. Halm for LFR in second. Kart Racer for NLR held on to that 3rd place thanks to a late race drop-off from Mika. Fuel or tyres, we're not sure. Leroy in 4th, Erpek for NLR, then Pedro, Griff, Mika, Jabraka, Lucas, Shane, Frankis, Yagazan, Will, Kev, Davey, Sieb, Acosta, Boomye, Purazige at the back of the grid, having been lapped with 4 times penalties of 12 seconds as well. Perhaps a little bit of work to do there, but probably overall NLR with the most points out of tonight. But we'll confirm the new standings at the start of next week's race. So I hope you've enjoyed it. I hope you've liked the video, please, and share it on socials, especially that that final one, that final section, which was most confusing, but a good drive from Marlon. And thanks to everybody for sticking with us, and we will catch you on the next race day.